Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to Anabolic Reviews. Today we're not going to be reviewing any steroids or anything like that. Today we're going to be reviewing a book. Yes, that is right guys. I've been reading books. I've been getting my life together. And the first book that I read is called Lord of the Flies. It's actually a novel written by William Golding. Now, I'm assuming most of you guys still haven't watched this book. Read this book, sorry. But because you're watching this video, you're probably trying to learn about the book. So I'm going to give you guys a quick summary / recap of the plot of the book without giving out too much details because I don't want to spoil anything, of course. This book is just basically about a group of kids that used to live on a war zone. They got rescued by an evacuation plane, and then when that plane was rescuing them from the war zone, it actually ended up crashing into a tropical island, and then these kids were stuck alone with no adults, just a group of 10 kids, around 12 to 13 years old each. They had to build a civilization, a society on their own with no adults. Obviously, they try to be civil, but things just take a left turn. People get too chaotic, too dangerous. We can foresee these things coming, but to be honest, I recommend this book to a lot of people. Like, if you read books, then I definitely recommend this book to you. If you've never even read a book before, I still recommend this book to you. If you're in school, I recommend this book to you. Here's why. It's literally just because of all the themes. I'm in love with all the themes that this book presents. We have civilization versus nature / savagery, the loss of innocence, the repercussions of being in constant fear, and of course the best one, survival. But now that it's clear that I recommend it to the general public, let's talk about the infamous school debate. Do I recommend people to read it in school? To be honest, I don't really think reading assigned books in school sharpens anyone's literary knowledge. But because it's mandatory to read books in school, then yes, I think Lord of the Flies should definitely be at least one of those books. Just because of the fact that it's such a timeless piece of literature, meaning the morals, the themes, the lessons, and all the sorts of things that will always be well-grounded and super reasonable as time goes on. It doesn't matter if you read this book in 1972 or 2087. This book is always going to resonate and be valid no matter when. It's basically it's really just an eternal piece of literature just because of the way it explores human nature and the way it shows us the downfall of civilization over time. No civilization lasts forever, to be honest. We've seen that many times in the real world, and this book shows us a very good example on how civilizations don't last and the downfall of humanity. This is the book can be used as a metaphor or an allegory, which is something very important in school, to the real world, because it inspires a lot of debates about the nature of society and just humanity as a whole. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that the eternal ability of this book relates it to 99.9% of societies, that's what makes Lord of the Flies a good book to read in school. But now that that's said and done, the novel will forever be relevant to read. From an examination of human nature, the examination of power, the examination of leadership, the examination of protagonist versus antagonist, and the examination of survival, the book is and will simply forever be relevant to read. But onto the characters now. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a protagonist versus antagonist plot throughout the book. The protagonist, who is the main character or the good guy of the book, his name is Ralph. Ralph is basically, he's the one that tries to keep things organized and to keep everyone on the same level. Ralph is the one that becomes the leader that becomes the victim that becomes free, and the free man that eventually has one hell of a story to tell once he gets out of there. Now, onto the antagonist. The antagonist is basically the bad guy, the opposite of the protagonist. The antagonist, his name is Jack, and Jack is just that one guy that becomes obsessed with hunting and being in charge. He becomes wild and aggressive over time. He tries taking over with like very unlawful ways, which makes him the antagonist of the novel. Jack is the bully of people, the intimidator of people, the manipulator of people, and the antagonist of all the people in the book. Nobody likes that guy except some people, except Roger. We'll get into that in a minute. Piggy is actually one of the first characters that we meet. He's very smart and has very good survival instincts, but Piggy's fat and he has glasses, so no one's gonna listen to him. His opinion is automatically not valid because he is overweight and he wears glasses. Simon is a bit older than the rest of the kids. He spends most of his time alone. He's like a background character. No one even knows nothing about this dude, but he's just, I guess he has a sensitive and strong opinion of what's right and what's wrong. He doesn't have much in common with those kids, but Simon is just Simon. I just have to include him, but no one really associates with that kid. Roger is an absolute menace to society. I don't know who raised this guy, but Roger is a hazard to society, bro. He does everything that Jack tells him. He's like his little, you know what I'm gonna say. He's basically the Robin. If Jack was Batman, then Roger would be his Robin, because he does everything. He's like the secondary character to Jack. He enjoys causing fear and being a bully, because he actually threw rocks at Piggy at some point in the book. I wish he would have thrown a rock on me. I would have upped it on him. But yeah, these are the characters that are basically like that interact together and keep the story shaped up. Now there are different themes. The themes and the morals of the story. We have rules and chaos, power and control, growing up and changing. Obviously, psychologically, none of these kids are gonna be the same after this. Fear and suspicion, and the good and bad in people. The novel just shows us whether people are naturally good or bad, and how circumstances can bring out the worst or the best in them. Obviously, in these circumstances in the book, the real intentions of everyone were revealed. Now, comparing this book to another book, this might sound a little funny, but Animal Farm by George Orwell. They're both a story with a message. Both books tell stories that have a deeper meaning. Lord of the Flies explores how people can become savage without rules, while Animal Farm explores and makes fun of unfair leaders and their abuse of power. Power, control, and the changing and losing of innocence. Because both novels show how some characters want to be in charge and want to have power over others. And Lord of the Flies, the power between Ralph and Jack leads to a whole bunch of problems, corruption and all that. And in Animal Farm, the pigs actually become greedy and use their power to take advantage of other animals. So pigs, Jack, same thing. Ralph is like the other animals in Animal Farm. The innocent ones, the ones that are actually civil. Comparing this book to real life, first of all, let's talk about the people. Lord of the Flies shows us how people can either be good or bad, just like in our world, people can show kindness or show selfishness. Power and control, the struggle for power and how it can lead to corruption. Like, this is very popular in third world countries, especially where I'm from, like Lebanon. Corruption leads to just chaos. It's the downfall of the country. Society and, society and order. The novel really just shows us how important rules and maintaining civilization is. Just like the law, there's a very fine line between legal and illegal. But that's the concept of legal and illegal holds our society stronger so much more than you guys can think. And this book really just proves it all to us. But personally, the novel definitely, most definitely applies to my life. Let me explain, okay? I relate a lot to Ralph, okay? Just Ralph. The rest, whatever. Ralph, though, he's that smart and civil guy that holds the friend group together. Or at least he tries. In my friend group, I like to think that I'm the group leader because none of my friends, their level of intelligence doesn't really compare to mine. I'm bigger than all of them. I'm sponsored by Superset and by pharmaceutical grade creatine. They're not on my level. I can do 100 kilograms on this foreign machine. I'm the group leader, just like Ralph, to be honest. I appreciate the novel. I appreciate the novel and the level of art, the level of work that William Golding that actually put into it. The novel is just great, man. Like I said, it's a timeless piece of literature, and I will always relate to it until the end of times. So if you can't tell by now, I love the novel, and I recommend all my bookheads to go give it a read. Even though I just started reading books, I love this book. From relating to the characters to hating certain characters, I enjoyed every chapter from the survival story. The chapter where the plane crashes, the chapter of hunting, the chapter where we find out what the actual beast is, the chapter where somebody dies, the chapter where they get rescued. Now, it's not a spoiler when I say that they get rescued, because they obviously get rescued, guys. Like, they're a bunch of 12-year-old kids. William Golding is not a monster. They obviously get rescued. Not without any damages, though. These kids are scarred for life. Anyways, hope y'all love this video, and see y'all in the next one.